My fascination with the paranormal had always been a thorn in the side of some of my friends, intriguing to others, and a few of my friends joined my group. One day I saw the television show with the Houghton mansion and I wanted to go there myself. The opportunity to do the hunt was on my birthday, July 29, 2010. From that day on I was hooked. Every Sunday I would go there for a tour, and these are a few of my experiences that I remember well. The Houghton mansion was less than an hour's drive from my home and a beautiful ride up the Mohawk Trail also. There had been a tragedy where the family had been involved in a fatal car accident. This led to the death of the father and the chauffeur. It is believed that the family had decided to stay together even as they existed in the afterlife. The home was large but in poor condition, with just certain areas that still showed their original beauty. I loved the kitchen more than any other room in the house and spent many hours there by myself most of the time, talking to a lady. The woman in the kitchen was not always forthcoming, or she wasn't always there. That is one of the things I am not sure of. Sometimes a building can be active and sometimes it is quiet. But one night the kitchen was very active. The room was large with a center island and sink in the middle with a sink. On the back wall was a large counter and cabinet space with the refrigerator and stove behind the island, and to the right. On the left was a large seating area. One night as I turned after talking to someone I believed was the woman for about 10 minutes, I saw for a brief moment a woman dressed in clothes such as our modern day clothes. She was in her 30s with dark hair, but she quickly disappeared. I had no time to take her picture, but by the way she so quickly disappeared she must have realized I saw her. I was very surprised to see her in such modern attire, and it almost looked as though she was preparing some kind of food. For this I have no other explanations. On the first floor was another room where there were meetings and other things held as groups did their meetings. We also used to eat there about midway through any of the ghost hunts. It was in this room that they had a tribal meeting of sorts. At this meeting we sat around in a circle and tried to contact our ancestors. Now I was not Native American as far as I knew, and I had an uncontrollable urge to jump up and dance around the campfire. I found out later that I am 1/4 Cherokee and had not been told so to save the questions from others. Another room I had some experiences in was the room that used to belong to Mary. Room. It was on the second floor and to the left after you went after the once magnificent spiral staircase located in the middle of the home. Originally, the room had been 2 bedrooms, but it had a private bathroom, something that indicated the wealth of the owners. Even in the 1920s when Mary had died, a private bath was a luxury. One night while seated in Mary's room I said, "Do you ever see your mother?" When I got home I had the most heartbreaking "F" that I have ever heard. It was of a lady crying out the word mother. There was no one in the room saying anything like that. It amazed but saddened me. One of the other rooms where I had an experience was in Mr. Houghton's bedroom. He had passed on in that room, and sometimes I just felt as though there was someone looking over my shoulder. I guarantee that I was there many times when nothing happened, but one night as I sat there with my flashlight I asked someone to turn it on and off or roll it, anything. Well, that flashlight had been there many times, and had been sitting there for at least 20 minutes when the flashlight took on a life of its own. It not only rolled, it rolled fast and flew off the table. It continued rolling until it hit the chair. Also in Mr. Houghton's room I took a picture, and in the picture there appears to be a spirit near the window. There is a lady sitting right in front of the window and unaware of anything strange happening. One of the most active areas was the lodge. This was a large room that had to be about 50 by 30 feet in length and width. I always liked to sit in the chair at the end of the hall where I could see everything, including people or spirits walking down the hallway. The night that I had the most experiences was the night after we had the meeting in the downstairs room. To me something had opened that night. Things were much more active around me and I was well aware of things that I had not been before. As I sat in my favorite chair I saw a man walking down the hallway. I could describe him perfectly, and as I pointed him out I realized that this tall man with glasses and a white shirt and a tie was only visible to me. I got up and tried to find him, but had no luck. Now anybody that does ghost hunts knows that a man in a white shirt and tie would be out of place. I tried to tell people, but they ignored me. One other time while in the lodge I was sitting next to Joe Chin from Ghost Hunters when I took a picture. When I got home I nearly freaked out. There in the chair right across from us was a being not of human form. It had large eyes, frog-like legs, and was bright orange. All of the pictures are available on my YouTube site. They are available to the public and proof that I am telling the truth. It was in the lodge that I was sitting in my favorite chair when I was actually lifted a few inches up in the air. Wow, that was an experience to remember. The last place was the basement. There was a story that a little girl was down there. I never saw her, but someone that I believe and is very credible saw one. I waited for hours to see the pinwheels spin, chair rock, flashlight turn on and off. The only thing I ever saw was the lights from my EMF meter going off to a request. Also the flashlight would go on and off. Unfortunately I never got an EV down there, that I couldn't discard because of the noise upstairs. I hope you enjoy my story.